So I made an interesting discovery. Well, actually more than one, but let's talk about a couple things that I just saw in the last week that I wanted to talk to you about, because there's just some unique things going on that I haven't really been able to test before and that I'm seeing right now. So I think you might find of interest for those of you dealing with some of the similar things, and also for those of you wondering about different grass types and different heights of cut and all that stuff. So the first one, I apologize, I didn't really get great footage of this just because I had to grab it this morning real quick and the sun wasn't really up yet to show you the greatest look at this, but hopefully you'll be able to see it. Back home, I've been doing a 3/4 inch tall fescue reel mowed, just one strip through 100% tall fescue that I planted there last fall. What I've been noticing with this is that surprisingly, it looks the best out of any of the tall fescue that I have at home. So hopefully you'll be able to see here, but right off of this is the exact same grass type, exact same water that it's had. I've not watered this whatsoever, so it's only been from whatever we've had from rain. And you'll see right here that I have a lot of fungus going on right next to this at a 2-inch height of cut. So on the reel mode section, there's just a slight tiny amount of fungus on a few of the leaves, but it's not widespread like this other area over here. And to be honest, it looks greener to me and to my eyes, so I'm not sure what it's going to show like on the camera, but to my eyes it looks greener and more healthy than the stuff that's next to it. Surprisingly, cutting it lower has actually done way better than any other scenario. Now you'll also see into the backyard, I told you that I do have fescue back there, but what I learned this year was that I do have quite a bit of bluegrass mixed into it yet. And you'll see that this has not had any irrigation either, but these have had the exact same amount of rain. You'll see how much more brown it looks in the backyard just from the dormancy. Most of that is the bluegrass, but you just get a sense of those two together. So this reel mode thing is very interesting to me because a lot of people would have never considered that tall fescue should be mowed low, or that it really can be. But sometimes the rules don't necessarily apply to everything, and you need to just try something and see what it looks like. So I'm not saying that this is something you're necessarily going to want to do, but I know some of you have tall fescue, and in the last couple weeks I've been getting questions about that little reel mow section. How is it doing? Could I consider mowing my tall fescue lower? And right now, in my scenario, I would tell you that yes, I think you could, and I think that it actually looks better than any of the taller sections, and I'm getting a lot less disease pressure. What I've experienced with the taller grasses is just that, you know, they get pretty thick, they get a lot of moisture stuck down in there by the crown of the plant, and especially if you're getting good rainfall, or even if you happen to just be irrigating a little too much or something, you may end up getting more of a fungus issue than anything else. So I'm gonna continue this experiment through the end of the summer and see what happens with it, but I'll probably continue a plot out here as well next season. I'm planning on doing a reel mode plot of that down here as well, just to see how it responds. It's a different soil type out here than what I have at home. That's number one as far as an interesting discovery that I made. Number two, let's take a look at a couple plots here. This thing right behind me is the large ryegrass plot, and I was just over here about a week or so ago showing you what this was looking like, and since then I've done one granular application. It was just a 13 cheap stuff you'll get at the store. And what I wanted to show you is the difference between how this responded to that and how the other ryegrass over here in the plots responded to a liquid application. Over there in that large plot, I think you'll still see I have a lot of those brown stalks still going on. It's starting to recover from that, but you can tell that it's still not completely out of that. Now over here, what I've seen with that application of Equalizer over here was that a whole bunch of green came back, and I got even nice recovery going on. I'm not seeing that kind of splotchy brown look over here as I was. Now it's not perfect by any means, but it definitely has responded very quickly to this. And so that's just another thing talking about what you may want to do in the summer with some liquids. If you were in a situation where you're dealing with those stalks and you can't seem to get rid of that brown color, I might consider, from what I'm learning with this and what I'm seeing here, maybe doing a liquid application, maybe one or two, a couple weeks apart or something, and see how it might respond from that. Because for me, that's been the only way that I've been able to see it come out of that brown stage. And just a couple weeks ago, I'll see if I can find a photo or a video here of what this looked like. And so after that application, I've seen just massive recovery on this, even though it happens to be the middle of the summer and it happens to be about the hottest part of the year that we experience here. So the logic there doesn't necessarily make a whole lot of sense. You would think that this is going to continue to look worse during the hotter part of the year, but I actually got it to recover somewhat, and I'm going to keep working on it and keep seeing what it looks like in the next couple weeks. Lastly, I posted a photo of this on my Instagram a couple days ago, but you'll see this fertilizer testing that I'm doing over here. So on this section over here, I've done some fertilizer testing that we're working on a new product, and then this over here has had nothing since the spring. And you can tell that it definitely needs something, but can you make some differences in summer? Yes, you can. And I think that a lot of people probably think with cool season grass that there's no way you should be or can do anything to it in summer. But I think if you're careful with what you're doing, move more towards some liquids, start small and low on applications, and just see how things respond, you might be surprised. So just some of those discoveries this week that I wanted to share with all of you as I see them in real time here. And in case you're also wondering, we are started on the house. If you want to follow any of that, check out my other channel and my Instagram here for Westbury if you want to check out any of that process more in real time. So I'm working on the video right now for how to prepare for fall renovations, overseeding. I'm going to be working on spraying out some areas out here pretty soon. Usually about mid-July is when I do that, so I get enough time to make sure that all the weeds are gone and I get the area prepped the way that I want to. If you're doing any sort of bluegrass for my location here, it really needs to go down probably about mid-August or so, just to make sure that you can get it established enough before we typically get frost. It's coming up quicker than you think. I'll have that video out very soon with much more in-depth info. Appreciate you watching today. We'll see you next time.